Hi, I'm here with Skaiste Knyzaite. We're at a food tech conference, not the first edition in Poland, but the second one. Not
Yes.
the second one, but it's not the only conference you
No.
organize in Poland. So how many
No.
so far?
We had Energy Tech conference, I think 2 years, 3 years maybe, in Warsaw. Now we moved out. We also had Urban Tech Forward 2 times, and then we had Health Tech Forward 2 times.
And you're not Polish, obviously.
No.
You organize conferences internationally.
Yes.
And you have a unique value proposition on the market. You understand things that others do not necessarily understand about your respective. Well, you get a lot of praise after the conference.
Okay, thank you.
And these conferences are very international. For instance,
Yes.
today when I asked in the audience how many people were actually Polish, 2 people raised their hand out
Yeah,
of an
yeah.
audience of several hundred.
Yeah.
So we're in the heart of Warsaw. But the reason I want to talk to you, Skaiste, really, is to understand better what it's like to organize conferences in different countries. What factors are at play, so to say? What for you as a decision maker, where to host it, where to organize it? In the industry, you would normally think about flight connections, the quality of the hotel infrastructure, attractions, whatever you need for any particular conference, places for after parties and evening dinners, networking quality. So these would be the intuitive ones. What are the less obvious ones?
Yeah, because we are working in 4 industries, so we want to attract global leaders from the sector.
And you're really good at it, I have to
Yeah,
say.
from specific industries. So what is important for us is local kind of ecosystem and infrastructure, because it's much easier to organize a conference, for example, like in Barcelona, where they have lots of health startups. They're one of the, I think they're number 1 in Europe in health tech startups. So we look into a whole picture. All you mentioned is very important, like venues, parties where you organize them and the rest of it. But for us, it's also very important to have a location where we could bring value to the city, to the country, but also to the participants, because then we can provide them like with the tours to some other startups or corporates or some, locations where, and we can, for a local ecosystem, it's much easier to come next door and so on. The other thing that we're different maybe is that we're looking for like government supports or how they can introduce us to local startups, corporates and so on and so on. So we had a very successful
so you
case.
want to tap into the network if it already exists, if there is
Yes,
someone
to
who
bring
can...
value to the country, and then it brings value to us too, because then for us it's easier to gather all
Instead of your team doing all the research and using your network, you can tap into the existing ecosystem.
Yes, and some governments and some cities are very, very much welcoming and willing to attract
It's
companies.
a very broad concept, welcoming. Let's make it more specific.
Yeah.
What happens?
Welcoming. We got lots of invitations, like even from Mexico. There was one city which invited us to organize an edition of the Urban Tech Forward in Mexico. It appeared that in their city they have headquarters of largest in the world cement manufacturer.
Sure.
Also, we got an invitation from Vancouver, Canada, to make Energy Tech Summit there, because they are the hub, and it's in their kind of policy that it's very important for the city and for the country in this city.
So it's like organic growth for you. With every conference, you get new industries potentially contacting you.
Not new industries, but new additions in other, like North, South America and Middle East and Asia. That's where we're planning to expand.
So let me give you a more tricky question.
Yeah.
Wasn't it that you actually started expanding from Poland, then moved on to Barcelona, Bilbao more recently? Yes. And you can compare these 3 realities, so to say. Why did you come to Poland in the first place?
Actually, it was...
Instead of doing it in your hometown.
Yeah, actually it was a bit random decision, let's say so.
So first it was random, then it was more deliberate.
We started the
But random doesn't happen 5 times in a row, does it?
Sure. So the initial idea was that we are based in Lithuania, so the flights are a bit, more convenient to come to Warsaw, because if you're coming from US, so you don't need to make another stop, and more flights here. So then in Lithuania, we don't have enough venues that are big and nice, and they're in city center, because I don't want to bring a global audience and bring them to some suburbs or anything.
Of course.
So there are a little bit of less venue places. But on the other hand, now we see that in Poland we don't have any more venue places. I just got information we try to book for this autumn, and some hotels that we like are booked, and the other bigger venues, they're a bit maybe not for international audience that would like to have some convenient event.
The last event you organized at Bilbao,
Yes.
Guggenheim Museum,
Yes.
with Michelin star
Yes.
catering.
Yes,
So
that's right.
That's something which is hard to beat, given the...
Sure, and it helps to attract people. So we gathered twice as much people as we managed to attract
And
to
becomes
workshop.
part of the storytelling.
But also we got a sponsor, main partner and sponsor like BBVA Bank, which is one of the largest banks in the world, because they have a VC which invests in startups. Also, we got support from Bilbao City. They helped us to introduce us to get a Guggenheim, because not anybody can come to Guggenheim.
You mean someone contacts you immediately upon learning that you're planning to organize something? Is it that
Yes,
proactive?
that's right.
Or do
Yes,
you need
they
to
contact
knock on
us,
doors and see who's interested in a conversation?
Actually, we got both. We get both. But Bilbao was for us an interesting location because we had very good contacts with the BBVA Bank and also with Basque government and Bilbao City. So they were bidding for us to come there. So, and we also had an invitation from Malmo, for example. Yeah. So we were choosing between Malmo and Bilbao.
Scandinavia is always interesting to go to.
Yes, but
Not in
but they don't
winter,
have Guggenheim.
Right, they don't.
They don't have Guggenheim, and we were really selecting between those two locations, and we decided that they're both also energy hubs for startups, innovations, and sustainable solutions. But then there's another one. There's another conference also, which is not like ours, but a little bit, and the audience is a little bit kind of. Some people are the same. And they don't have Guggenheim, so then obvious.
Now that you've mentioned it the second time, what you expect as part of your concept creatively is for the city or the location to have a unique value proposition so that it becomes part of your story.
Yeah, that's right.
So what was it originally in Warsaw? Was it the infrastructure, flight connections, those general factors, or was there anything else?
No, actually we started organizing conference right after Corona. So we thought it's maybe interesting.
In the brave new world.
Yes. So we thought it's maybe a bit cheaper location, because if you go to Berlin, this budget is double or triple, and we thought maybe it's interesting location because there's many conferences in Barcelona, Madrid, and Berlin, and so on and so on. So we tried it. As long as we started with one conference, so then for us it's a bit difficult if you have 4 conferences in a year to have those organized in different locations, because you need to have local partners, go through the budgets,
Trusted,
go to see,
reliable
yes,
partners,
go to see
reputation matters a
locations
lot.
yourself and so on. And here we knew kind of everything, so for us it's easier to have a few conferences at the same location. But now we're going, so I think we can manage.
So how big are your conferences? The last one was like 900 people attending,
Yes.
all industry experts, very international, flying from all over the place.
Yes.
So it's more or less between 500, I would say, to 1,000.
Yeah,
typically.
but we are growing every year, like double usually. So it depends on the conference and maybe some.
And they always have an expo area, don't they? Because it's important that people mingle, interact,
Yes,
and speak
for
directly.
people,
you have an app for meetings, etc.
Sure. Because for us, it's always, for people, it's good to come and to meet everyone. Also to have all the program like Phil, So to have to listen to some interesting presentations, to gather new connections. And expo areas then good, because then you can go and you have a meeting place for yourself, and also some kind of exposure for your company.
One last question, which will be perhaps extra tricky, because you did mention that some countries it's a very competitive environment. Locations want to attract big conference organizers internationally. Some of them, the way they do it is, for instance, they contribute financially if you manage and prove that you can attract a certain number of foreign delegates, international delegates, international experts, and proportionately to the physical number of guests you have, they will contribute financial support. So that's one way to go about it. But if you were advising the Polish event industry or any government bodies interested in basically boosting the brand, Poland's brand as an international event destination, in an ideal world, when we're not talking about money exclusively, money is part of it, But if you were to advise Warsaw or Krakow or any other big city or historical city or beautiful city in Poland, what to do, what would be on top of your list of recommendations to attract such? What is missing?
Attention from government bodies and so on, because we try to attract, like we had a conference in Lithuania, so we usually have mayor coming to greet the people that are coming.
It's physically
that's a
difficult
fact.
for you to attract local authorities.
Yeah, because they don't even reply to you. Even we tried, but then we just forgot it because it seems like nobody from governmental bodies in Poland, they don't really.
And we're talking about multiple events here.
Yes,
not just
yes. Urban
So
ministry.
the other thing is, so you essentially you feel like you don't have an interface, someone talking to you, supporting you, consulting.
Even at
How
least
could we
coming
help?
for 5 minutes and
Yeah.
greeting the so
What
that's.
else? What else? Skaiste?
What else? All the countries, like, they have this financial support scheme for any event which is international. If you bring international people to the event,
What else?
and even more, some countries they have incubators, accelerators. They need to bring somebody to bring investors, corporates from all over the world, and also startups, because those startups might also later set up a company there. Like we got from Amsterdam, Leipzig, many places, many locations. They're trying to attract us. And the other thing for us is that if they know local infrastructure, they give us introductions to corporates that are local, startups, and the others. So, which is really important. So we didn't feel any of this in Poland so much. Sorry about that.
I did promise it would be my last question, but
Sure.
now you made me ask really the last one. As you said, you keep growing, you keep expanding, developing the concept itself. So if you look ahead for the next 2 years and the full portfolio of your brands and conferences you're planning to organize, is it more likely that you will increase the proportion of those happening in Poland or decrease the proportion?
For now, we don't have any plans to have more conferences in Poland, but also because there is no venue places that are good. For example, in Bilbao, they have a beautiful expo building which is on the side of the river.
Yeah, but that means Warsaw is overbooked. Too many things are happening here, doesn't it?
Yeah, but you only have hotels and you don't have new locations that are being built or anything. But it's not only about Poland, even in Lithuania we don't have too many. They're still trying to build one building for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, and they're delaying that. And
how about one source of information about all those logistics-related organizational issues? Like, for instance, if you were to look for a perfect setting or a perfect venue for your evening events, would you like to have one place where you can just browse through and choose instead of having to ask people around, the locals, the event agencies?
No, usually you have the list of potential locations. Each convention bureau in each town, they have a list, but you have to go see it personally.
Convention bureaus.
We do that also. Yeah, we do that also. We check what they offer. Even some convention bureaus, they even organize trips for organizers to come to I was, like, for example, in Copenhagen, they invited me and they were showing us for 2 days all possible locations where we could organize the conference. Wonderful. And they sponsor that. So, and
I promise you one final question I asked.
Sure.
Thank you very much, Skaiste.
Thank you.
We are right in the middle of FoodTech Congress 2024, so I need to go back to the stage because there is a debate going on right now.
Thank you
It's
so
been a
much.
pleasure.
Thank you.